Hello, beer tubers, and welcome to yet another beer review with me, Peter, the Master of Hoppets. Today, joined by
Brett.
of Anno Myces. We're reviewing some more Fidens, and we totally didn't have a couple of awesome stouts and awesome IPAs before this. Maybe this is the first beer of this year. You never know. This is the last can of Fidens we have left that we got from Nikolaj.
Yeah.
So thanks a ton to Nikolaj for the beer.
Shit. I'm starting to smelling the. I can smell the juice.
Yeah,
so.
it smells juicy.
Starting to smelling the juice. What the fuck?
This is going to be our first Fidens beer that's not a collab too.
Yeah, but it's still a Fidens beer.
Yeah, and it's brewed at Fidens just like the 96. But this is Loose Boots.
Yep.
Double IPA. Double IPA with Citra and Strata hops, 8.5% alcohol. There we go. Looks fantastic.
It looks like OG Treehouse.
It does.
It looks like Treehouse. It's Treehouse.
It's that really thing. Like Monkish is. I just said in the previous, we shouldn't keep comparing things to Monkish because we're fanboys. But their beers are not as thick as this.
Not at all.
And they don't have the same mouthfeel.
This is much more pulpy and just orangey and
it looks like an
yeasty looking.
It does look like an OG Treehouse beer, or maybe Equilibrium. Some of the first batches we had from them, like
but I'm mostly thinking on Treehouse.
Yeah, because they're also often more orange. But yeah, it looks really nice, and there's like that almost like green hue to it.
It looks so oaty and creamy.
4 weeks, so quite fresh.
Yeah.
Check out the aroma.
Oh,
it is
so
total like juice bomb.
Yeah.
But there is like a green vibe to it. Like there's a bit of dankness and edge.
But it's dank. That's what. It's just.
And that's the thing with Fidens.
It's tropical and dank.
Yeah, it was the same with the District 96 called 96. It was super popping and really juicy, but it had some dankness.
But what do you say, Strata and
Citra?
Okay. So this is very like, but I've seen a lot of brewers say that Strata is really dank.
Yeah, well, it's quite dank.
And Citra has also been slightly dank as of late, at least more dank than earlier.
To me, this is like, do you remember like that kind of really bubblegummy Treehouse vibe?
Yeah.
It's
so totally OG Treehouse. Like
it's so bubblegummy.
The new Treehouse stuff doesn't smell like this. It's much more earthy and hop-centric. It's not as juicy and...
There's like a really rich underlying, like really overripe juice quality, like really candy or not candy, like the
papaya, mango, guava-esque,
but
yeast ester kind of thing.
Yeah, but really big time that kind of juicy fruit bubblegum, like jackfruit.
Yeah,
like so much. And like Citra is just there with like this just classic overripe thing. I'm guessing Strata and Citra really marries well because they're slightly similar in character. It's like a lot of tropical, a lot of overripe sweet fruit.
Yeah, and like but almost like passion fruit bubblegum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then an underlying whiff of brightness.
But this
smells like great.
This smells like completely what we came into or what got us into haze.
Yeah, it does.
Like Treehouse
totally
haze or Trillium haze.
It smells like what got me into hazy beer for sure. And then the thing is with hazy beer, there's so many brewers doing these hazy IPAs. You're bound to have examples that are not as great and not as outstanding, and that's fine. But you know, when we tried a lot of the ones we tried of newer stuff from European breweries, a lot of stuff we don't review on camera, but there's just so many that are just not that great, and then you get sick of it because the market gets flooded with these like examples that are decent or just subpar that are like really sweet and malty, but with like really overripe esters. There's like no balance from the hops or anything, and like this just smells like something that gets me back into like classic hazy beer. Yeah. The reason why I also like Monkish a bit more, even though I said I didn't want to mention it,
I also love Treehouse. It's still
I fucking love Treehouse. I love all of them. But the reason why I prefer Monkish is because they bring some brightness. But this just smells more like when we were really getting into these kind of beers.
But this is like super exotic. Really, it's not like Fanta exotic, but it has that exotic ester hop profile. But again,
like
with a bit of dankness and something
just a bit more edge.
Yeah. But what I love it is just that it's so popping.
Yeah, it's really popping. Let's try it.
Yeah.
Cheers. Thanks, Nikolaj.
It's just ridiculous, eh?
Wow. It's so bubblegummy.
Yeah.
Fuck.
But this is what this is what I remember OG Treehouse and Equilibrium tasting like.
Yeah, me too.
This is what fired us up about those beers when they just came out.
So much like a stick of Wiggly's Juicy Fruit bubblegum.
Yeah, but with dankness.
But yeah,
like a weedy strata.
But I will also say, like what you're saying, I totally agree. Like it reminds me of old school Equilibrium and Treehouse, but with a West Coast flavor because there's some brightness, some dankness to it. It's not all juice.
Yeah, because
and I really
it definitely
like that.
has like a dryness and like a hop centric finish.
You know,
because it's so juicy and estery up front, and then that
and it's exactly the same idea we had with the 96. It's like that marriage of both coasts, east and west, that's just done where both are really harmonious, so they don't outshine each other. But it's so estery, like that Juicy Fruit bubblegum, Wrigley's Juicy Fruit is crazy on it. It's almost candy-like too, kind of like Slice, like Starburst or something like that. And then on top of that, you're getting that like classic Citra and also Strata vibes of like really tropical overripe notes. Like it's like a really, for me, it's like a lot of overripe passion fruit, but it's like, you know.
But also like dank mango.
Yeah, and also overripe mango and like peppery mango. Yeah. But then it has like, you know, bright, singy dankness. Yeah. But the dankness is not like in Monkish where it's like going on for days. It's cut really quickly. Yeah. It's just like something to lift up all the juice.
Yeah, and this is also more like this like sorbet-esque juicy estery profile up front, and then the dankness kicks in. Whereas with Monkish, it's like the dankness and the it's just all the way through.
That's it. This is totally the Solera tropical creamsicle.
Yeah, but with dankness.
Yeah, but with dankness. But it totally has that same kind of generic, or not generic, but tropical fruit juice vibe. I mean, fuck, this is really fucking great. I think I totally get the hype behind Fidens.
But this is, again,
this is good.
Like, this is just what I remember from having Equilibrium in Treehouse. When it just came out, like small batch, and just like immensely popping. Yeah. And so expressive in flavor. Yeah. And those breweries, they are still good, but it's not that same. Yeah.
It's just, but you know, I think no matter what, you always, when you grow to a bigger size, you always have to sacrifice a bit. Yeah. Because, you know, like bring these beers on huge scale batches, like Treehouse is trying to do right now, is the biggest producer of haze in the entire world. Like, the cost. Think of the cost in hops already. When they do the crazy hop saturate, like they're so crazy, you know.
But I just have a hard time figuring out what does it, you know, is because with this one it feels like it's more the yeast character that
it's
is really
yeast.
Dialed in, and then they kind of fought in the hop character afterwards with the yeast character.
But I don't think that's you know.
No, that's not the way you do it, but that's how it feels when you drink it.
It feels like a more yeast-centric beer. Yeah. And I feel like that's how the
Treehouse has gone down
on the yeast. Yeah.
Yes, it's not as yeast-centric. It's much more like hop-centric and much more earthy and harsh.
But it's still, but it's still more hop-centric. It's still more yeast-centric than say Monkish.
Yeah. But I much prefer again Monkish to Treehouse.
But the yeast character, which was super unique for both Treehouse and Equilibrium, is kind of like this, and this is this crazy juicy overripe thing. But I think it's not. I don't know if you. Well, of course, you think about what yeast you want to use and what the yeast produces. But I think it's also a lot of working with your yeast and figuring out how it works. Yeah. So I think this is how things play in first. Like you try different yeast, you figure out how they work, and then you find like that golden strain or whatever. It sounds so stupid to say that.
But
you find something where it's like, wow,
yeast, you tweak it and you work with it over time, and
I don't know. You work with it, you make it, or you just get to find a yeast or work with it enough to find and nail a profile you like in your New England IPA. Yeah. But I think that's part of it. And then when you go to scale up to bigger batches and everything, like there's so many different factors that play in, and also like the new systems, like working up, scaling up a recipe from a small brew house to a big brew house. It's not just like cooking a larger cake in a larger oven. Yeah. Like scaling up in beer is really hard. It's so hard. Yeah. So
But you just, especially with Equilibrium, I'm really sensitive because we have loved Equilibrium. Again, it's much more to the juicy side, but when it's so popping and expressive as this, you can't help but love it. And I've always loved Equilibrium, especially when it was like small batch and just so expressive all the time, but it's just not the same anymore.
Yeah. I will say I think I preferred the triple IPA we just have a little bit more just because of the hop character. So I'm going 97 on this and not 98.
Yeah.
I still think it's world class haze, but
this is
the other beer had Nelson.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's just it for me. I love Citra and Strata and it has some classic.
What makes me love this is the combination of like super juicy. This is you just miss breweries doing like perfect juice like this, but with a bit of dankness.
Yeah.
And it's just that perfect like mango, passion fruity juice.
Yeah. I really want to try a Fidens beer with Nelson.
Yeah.
I
like
really...
the vegan.
Is that Nelson?
Yeah, the Joe, and that's one of the more regular beers with. Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. But I would say fuck it. I'll give this a 98. I think it's as good as a triple IPA, to be honest. It's a bit more juicy, but.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice that I love juicy beer when it's like this. When there's some dankness and brightness to lift it up.
Yeah. I think what pulls it for me is the dankness. It's just that it has that edge, and again, it's juicy, but it has that dank blueberry.
I love it too, but it's got a lot of flavor I'm used to. Whereas not used to, but it's just like flavor. I think it's nice, but it's like the flavor of that specific hop, which is Nelson. It's just. It's better for me.
Yeah.
That's why I want to drink some Nelson beer from Fidens.
I probably still prefer some like the Nelson or the
Into
Monkish,
the that's it.
Triple in the long run, but I'll still give this a 98 because I think it's fucking amazing. I definitely think it's.
I mean, it is amazing. Yeah, beer. It is. If you guys had a chance to try Loose Boots from Fidens, let us know what you thought of it. Thanks a ton again, Nikolaj, for the beer. As always, remember to comment, subscribe, check out the Facebook fan page and Twitter and Instagram. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and ring the bell for future notifications about videos. And we're going to say cheers in delicious haze.
Hazy juice. Dank juice.
Dank juice. And see you guys in another dank juice review. Maybe it's not a Monkish beer. It's another Fidens. I hope so. I'd like to drink more Fidens.
That would be awesome.
Yes.
At
some Nelson farmers.
Yeah.
Cheers.